We're the sum total of our experiences, describes a hardworking, generous, and fun-loving Collin that we loved, who joyfully proved to us that we should always live our life to the fullest in an effort to make the world a better place. I'd like to set the stage by reading a poem that exemplifies on how your choices and how you live your life impacts the world around you. I think that you'll see parallels in Collin's life. The poem is called The Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from beginning to end. He noted that first came the date of her birth, and he spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was that dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she has spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved her know what that little line is really worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love, and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things that you would change? For you never know how much time is left. You could be a dash mid-range. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way that other people feel. And be a little less quick to anger, and to show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things that they say on how you spend your dash? Collin had a wealth of past experiences that went into shaping his future, both personally and professionally. I've known Collin for 21 years, and he was like a brother to me. And watching him struggle and overcome throughout his life left a lasting impression on me. Realizing that we are the sum of the total of our experiences, we can look back at Collin's life, full of experiences, and how he developed from them, and maybe we can utilize a small chunk of that learned knowledge to move our own lives forward. We are the sum total of our experiences also describes a hardworking, generous, and loving Collin that we loved, who joyfully proved us that we should always live our life to the fullest in an effort to make the world a better place. Collin had a tenacious nature that was visible in several stages of his life. As an early preemie, Collin struggled mightily, overcoming hurdles both physically and cognitively. From the beginning, his first months of life in the NICU were touch and go. There were never no guarantees of a tomorrow. If born almost 3 months early, all babies will have numerous challenges for survival. In addition to the normal challenges of prematurity, Collin faced a larger challenge of significant lung abnormalities. The symptoms indicated one syndrome, yet his lack of progress when they treated him for that syndrome was puzzling, resulting in many setbacks. But that tenacious Collin kept on fighting and surviving. This went on for a month until he was almost out of options. Fortunately, the relentless efforts of the NICU medical team, coupled with the tireless work of med students researching old cases, found a single case in Australia similar to Collin's. With the last-minute discovery of Collin's true issues, Collin was rushed into a risky surgery to remove one of his lungs. Recovery from a lung removal was long, hard work for a tiny baby. Collin had been on a ventilator since birth, and those high amounts of oxygen actually caused a burn-like tissue that remained. Healing and growing new lung tissue was exhausting and challenging work for a baby, but Collin never gave up and did everything that we asked of him. Looking back, you can see that this strong work ethic and tenacity was present early on. Now, during the next year and a half when Collin was tethered to oxygen, he never let it interfere with wanting to play with his brothers and being included in all family activities. Collin got strong enough to move into physical therapy to start catching up to his physical development. Although he was many months behind from his ordeals, in his mind he wanted to be and do everything that his older brothers were doing. He had long, difficult sessions of physical therapy and worked hard to improve. The physical therapists that saw him at home because he had a reduced immune system were great examples of dedication, and compassion. They worked long and hard and tried many ways to help Collin improve. Looking back, these were good examples of tenacity that Collin obviously picked up on. As his strength improved and the oxygen was no longer necessary, Collin enjoyed running with the other kids, playing soccer, basketball, and riding his bike. While he wasn't the fastest or the most durable, Collin enjoyed all of the activities, as much or as more than the other kids. The fact that he had to work harder and endure more pain to keep up made the results more rewarding. When it got time for Collin to start school, he faced challenges that paralleled his physical journey. Due to the oxygen shortage early on in his life, he was faced with short-term memory loss, issues that hampered his progress. When it came to learning, Collin had to learn how to Collin had to work longer and harder than others to accomplish the same goals. Although Collin understood and learned things, retaining and recalling knowledge was harder for him than the others. He had to work at repetitively reading, reviewing, and practicing things to get it to stick in his mind. Collin never complained, he just did it. His dedicated teachers and specialists helped Collin find techniques and coping skills to better retain knowledge. Collin understood that with hard work, it would pay off and he could accomplish anything that he set his mind to. Although Collin faced many setbacks in his life, he was able to clear every hurdle that he faced, from just surviving daily to keeping up with his brothers to developing strategies to conquer his learning disabilities. Although the challenges were steep, hard work and determination proved to be the equalizer for Collin. Going back to our poem, The Dash, through this phase of his life, Collin began to fill his dash with challenge, struggle, hard work, and overcoming challenges, and ultimately, survival. Being a beneficiary of countless contributions by others, family, medical, educational, and philanthropic organizations, made Collin aware of the impact that one's contributions can have on others. Collin could not have recovered or achieved all that he did alone. The endless care from his family, assistance, and guidance from many individuals and groups allowed him to focus on the recovery and dedication of many healthcare professionals and educators helped him become who he was. From the bed rest prior to his birth by his mother to the 8 hours a day it took for her to successfully feed him enough calories to thrive, to the daily commutes, to the basically living at the NICU for the first 100 days. Collin witnessed incurable dedication by his family. Later managing and coordinating Collin's huge amount of doctor appointments, he learned value of organization. Collin was a grateful recipient of the generosity of his communities, from neighbors bringing food when his family was so busy with medical issues, to prayers from his congregation, to donations to research organizations such as March of Dimes, whose research on prematurity greatly benefited his recovery. His family benefited from other advice and programs that the March of Dimes created to help families of premature infants successfully deal with and overcome the challenges they face. Collin and Galen and their family were honored to be the 1998 March of Dimes Ambassador family and make appearances in support of the charity. The long hospital stays were softened by generous corporate donations for family suites at the NICU and programs to support families who were at hospitals for extended stays. From the time Collin arrived home, his recovery was supported by many groups such as Birth to Three, Dane County Nurse, and occupational therapists and physical therapists. In school, Collin received care and support from many amazing, dedicated educators, from early childhood education to reading and learning specialists. In grade, middle, and high school, there were never a shortage of enthusiastic educators happy to support Collin in any fashion. The experiences Collin had throughout his extensive involvement in the medical community had a lasting, major impact on his life. From the heroic efforts to keep him alive in the first 100 days, to the intense research to find causes and solutions to his conditions, to the caring of the nursing staff every day. Never did they say something was impossible or settle for less than the best outcome. These are all great examples of the tenacity, dedication, and optimism that Collin benefited from. Like many say it takes a village to raise a child, Collin had more like a small city, getting him from birth to maturity. All the examples set by these contributors formed a great base of experiences for Collin to draw from as he formed his core values. From the endless contributions from his family to the generosity of his community and the tenacity and dedication of the medical community. All of those had one thing in common: giving. Obviously, all these people were working hard to fill their dashes in their lives. Now, referring back to the poem in Collin's Dash, Collin learned from others examples in selfless giving and dedication to cause and what can cause and enrich others' lives. And he used their examples as a template for his own behavior, further fulfilling his dash. Understanding the value of every day, Collin worked hard to make the most of what he had and filled each day with as much joy and adventure as possible. As someone with such bleak beginnings, his success was remarkable. Collin taught us to make the most out of what we had. Although Collin had many setbacks, that didn't stop him from experiencing the same enjoyment as his brothers. Collin couldn't ride bikes outside due to his low immune system, so folks got him a battery Jeep to ride around in his house. Collin also couldn't go to the pool due to his weak immune system, so his parents had a pool on the front porch. Collin found things within his own skill level that he could enjoy success with, such as making games out of the physical therapy exercises. Quite often I would catch Collin saying, "Enjoy every day, you might not get another." Collin was a perfect example of this, enjoying the hard-earned successes he had in education and physical improvement to enjoy the normal and successful life he did, in which he played basketball, soccer, and was involved in Boy Scouts. Collin was an honor roll student for the length of his high school career and a loyal waiter in a hometown restaurant where he worked for 7 years. Collin most recently attended and started working at St. Mary's Hospital in Human Resources, working towards the goal of becoming a healthcare administrator. So in the dash between 1996 and 2017, Collin finds his dash topped off with many personal accomplishments and achievements. Collin will be remembered as someone whose tenacious nature was a product of his rough beginnings and survival instinct. Collin's awareness of the value of people's contributions' impact on others stems from his recognition of how he benefited from the countless individuals who helped him become who he was. Collin's zest for living and appreciation for opportunity for a normal life are due in a large part to his experience as someone who at many times was not predicted to have another day in his future. As someone who clearly exemplifies how we are the sum of our total experiences, Collin Kennedy used his rocky beginnings and hard uphill climb for survival to develop tenacity useful in his later life. Collin also leveraged the kindness and generosity given to him by his caregivers to build an understanding of how important it is in your life to help others. Working hard to survive and cherishing each of those days made it easy to survive for excellence and enjoy every good moment he was blessed with. Collin definitely filled his dash.